Thank you so much for joining today and for taking the time to make yourself available. You all are amazing and well accomplished, and I'm excited to get into this conversation. If you would, please do an introduction of your work. Let's start there.
Of course. I've been a psychotherapist, life coach, and an executive coach for about 30 years. And based on these 30 years of experience, I have created a model, a psychological and an educational theory, an intervention called awareness integration theory, which I am not only doing research on it, but working with clinicians and in therapy, but also teaching it in a couple of major international universities. We're doing research, and also because we've done research on self-help and saw how amazing it was working in minimizing depression, anxiety, raising self-esteem, and self-fulfillment in life, I asked Sam to create an app for us, and after that also an AI chatbot. So I'll give that to you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Zeine. So when I looked at the research and also the work that she has done, it was a challenge to create a very scientific-based model into an app that could be a self-help. So we tried multiple variation of it, and then finally we released it about more than a year ago, and we got very good results. And one of the things that the app does is does a pre and post evaluation of how you feel about a situation. And then when you go through the AIT process within the app, takes the same questionnaire to see where you are before and after. And what we saw was an average between 60 to 70% improvement. And you can see the result right away. So you don't have to wait for a long time. As soon as you finish the process, you can see where you are and how you improve. And then about a year ago, Dr. Foojan asked to see if we can really incorporate AI into the app. So we created a chatbot, which is very unique compared to what you see as far as the AI concept, because kind of is a hybrid AI model, which uses different concept of generative, rule-based, and word-based AI into one. So it also only trained on AIT. So it doesn't know anything else, doesn't look at outside, doesn't look at internet, and it really based on AIT. It's science-based. So what you get from, and we call it Mira. So it has a name, this chatbot called Mira. Mira really behaves like a life coach, and actually is trained to talk just like Dr. Foojan.
Incredible. Thank you so much. And again, congratulations for bringing something that is so purpose-driven into the market. I do want to get into like the mindset behind where the app creation came from. So for our listeners that are navigating the complexities of adulthood, what's one of the most fundamental shifts in perspective or understanding you believe can significantly improve their overall well-being?
The most important factor is that we don't necessarily learn how to create self-reflection for ourselves. As we're growing up, we're looking at society, we're looking at parents, we're looking at experiences that we have and kind of build our life toward it. And sometimes, depending on the belief systems and the chances and all the circumstances that we've had growing up, we've created, obviously, beliefs. Some of them are fulfilling, moving us forward. They're powerful beliefs, and some of them are very limiting and holding us back. So the concept of reflection, concept of becoming aware of ourselves is very important. The way that we think about ourselves and the way we move forward, setting up our life is important. And usually we create that in our adulthood. So adulthood is the first time we actually come back and reflect. Sometimes we do reflect, but we don't know what to do. So this model of the awareness integration not only shows and teaches people how to reflect, how to become aware of their thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and how all of those attitudes kind of impacts every area of your life, every relationship that you have, but also goes through giving you a journey of how to go to the past, how to integrate, how to let go, how to heal, how to become one with yourself, so that as a whole person, with all of your access to your vulnerabilities and mostly all your strengths and skills, set up goals and then create structures for you to go forward. we obviously first started working on this type of research in the clinical world, people who would come in, and we looked at people who have depression, anxiety, stress in their life, low self-esteem, low self-confidence. And working with that group, we really saw that in a therapy setting and in a coaching setting, we were bringing down depression and anxiety and raising self-esteem and self-efficacy. Then we took this into colleges, and only as a self-help, we just gave them modules of guided journaling. Like, you go through these guided journaling, ask the questions, go through everything. And we did a pre-test and a post-test. Cal State Long Beach, 4 classes, almost like 150 students. And we still found, even with that, no coach, no therapy, just guided journaling and the going through the process, we were still finding like 65% minimization of depression and anxiety and raising self-esteem and self-efficacy. That was the thought behind it, in how to take, if the self-help research showed that it was effective so much, then we wanted to bring it into an app so everybody could have access to it, across the globe. After going through the app, then we saw that a lot of times as you're going through this, you have questions and you need skills. It's not just about reflection. So obviously, if you are with a coach, if you are with a therapist, at a time that you see, okay, I got all of this about me, but I don't know how to do this. I have no idea what the skill is if I wanted to go forward. And the coach and the therapist would obviously offer that to you. Well, the app was missing that, because it would give you the concept of self-reflection and journey, but you still had to go to a coach and a therapist to be able to give you the skills. The AI chatbot now, it offers you the skills. So you could ask questions about, how do I do this? How do I deal with my mother who's upset with me? How do I deal with my mate, which I don't like him or her doing this, and how do I say it? And then the Mira, from taking it from the awareness integration, gives you a little bit more reflective questions, but also now gives you skills. Says, these are 8 steps. Do these. This is the way you should communicate, and go try these and then come back. And that's how the two kind of, it went from a psychological and an educational model to a self-help, and then to bring the coach actually in another format into the self-help.
That's incredible. And I love the transition, the way this transitioned. I was so excited when I got your submission, because this is something I've been committed to. I'm pretty self-aware. I've been on this personal development journey for years. I read all the books, but lately, the past few years, few months, I've been like, you know what? I don't have the skill of properly articulating and going within myself to identify what it is I'm feeling. I'm self-aware. I know my shortcomings, etc., but really to find the language and to be guided through how to identify it. This is such a game changer, and I can't wait for I want to go through the app myself. I love that you added the therapist, because I was on with my therapy for the last 6 months. She's amazing. We are aligned, but I felt like it wasn't effective, because I'm like, I haven't been able to help myself before I can be effective in our sessions. So now you've worked with individuals facing a wide range of challenges. What are some of the most common underlying factors that contribute to difficulties in areas like relationships, managing stress, and overcoming addictive patterns?
I think that more than anything, people don't know how to regulate their emotion. They get afraid of their emotion. They don't know where it's coming from. It gets overwhelming in their body, and all they're trying to do is to numb it and get rid of it, versus, emotions are messages. There are messengers from our body, and says, hello, knock, knock, hear me out. That's all they're doing, like, hear me out. And then when we teach the person through this app, the modules or coaching or therapy, that you learn how to listen to your body, you learn how to identify the emotion and the messages behind the emotion and whatever it is that's coming up for you. And then from there, when you listen to your body, then you can come back to this frontal cortex, which is your wisdom, and then go through the logical part of you, the skills that you have. How do you want to take care of this emotion? If the emotions are based on some trauma in the past, obviously they're automatic. So obviously we have to go heal the traumas in the past, or whatever's been happening in the past, which it makes it so automatic and it takes over so well and immediately that, you're just going to have a react. So first we want to hold the reaction, the behavior, check the body, check the emotion, bring it into the logical part of us, and then start looking at how we want, based on our goals in that relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship or work relationship, what kind of a relationship do I want to create? And then from there, be able to communicate appropriately. We could do this simply by what I said. However, if I see that it will automatically keep coming back into the old traumas, then obviously we also have to be able to heal that. And I know that the way you've created the app, you've put in the journals and then you put in meditation pieces in the middle and then skill building. Do you want to share also that with Naomi?
So one thing that we learned going through some of the sessions that Dr. Zeine has done with her patient is she has the ability when the patient goes through the process, tries to ground her and kind of help her to really get rid of some of those emotions that already charged her thought. So that's what we've done is in the app is every time you go through a kind of a portion of the steps within the app, then we have a guided meditation process that tells you, okay, this is what you went through. And now do this, do the breathing, and kind of guides you through that meditation and helps you to really get ready for the next step. So it's not like, okay, finish this, and now it's not a race, it's a journey. And then you need to, if you're, let's say, driving between a couple of states, you cannot just go through 3 different states without stopping and really reflecting yourself and recharge your batteries or get yourself ready. And that's what the app does, has this meditation that helps you thinking and get your body and really your mental well-being ready for the next step.
So Naomi, what happens is that when we go to a past scenario, which we made some negative belief about ourselves, which that's what keeps pouring the emotions, automatic emotions for us. A part of us, when it's overwhelmed by something negative that has happened, it tends to freeze up. Right? It tends to freeze up because we need to actually be able to move forward. So a way to save us is it freezes the overwhelm in our body and then goes forward. I'm sure a lot of our listeners or viewers have actually experienced this where they're hiking or they're going somewhere and there's pain involved. They kind of like their body numbs that area of their body in order to just be able to walk and move forward. And then when they kind of like sit down and then the excruciating pain starts throbbing. Because imagine the same thing happens with our emotions. If you are in a location where something happens and you're so overwhelmed that you can't handle it, but you got to survive, our system freezes that, puts it in the closet, and gets you to go and survive. But that part of you that was frozen and put in the closet never gets to come out. All it does is out of the closet keeps knocking. And that's how the knocking you get experience with all of these intense emotions showing up at random times, which you have no idea why, or for, something that is not that significant, suddenly you have so much emotion. So part of the journey of going to the past is really looking at the strength that you also had at that moment. It was just that you were overwhelmed and you were only looking at your vulnerabilities. So by bringing you to your power, your resiliency, every way that you were able to endure, be patient, create whatever strategies at that moment you created in order to move forward is what we're going to bring back and integrate into the system. And due to that, then you are more aware today in how to handle your relationships that are happening because you're doing this with all of you, all your skills, and other parts of you are not frozen somewhere waiting to be released, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just so grateful that you all are giving this a language, because again, it's something that we've gone through, but it's hard to know how to articulate it. So in terms of awareness integration theory, the fact that it's supported by over 20 published studies speaks volumes. What are some tangible improvements in daily life? You've already given plenty of examples, but that individuals engaging with your AI might expect to see based on this research.
When we've done it in a clinical setting, we've seen that minimizes depression because we go back to the process of childhood, releasing traumas, looking at all negative beliefs that you have about yourself. And depression usually has a lot to do with negative attitudes, that you only look at your past and see the negative. And that negative shows up as a hopelessness about the tomorrow. So as we clean that up, the depression comes down. Anxiety calms down anxiety up to 65% so far based on the research, because we also do goal setting and create structures for the future. And anxiety is almost something negative we had to the past. We send it to the future and we create all these horror stories for ourselves for the future. So because we clean up the past, then we are very clear about goals and setting the goals and structure, the anxiety comes down. The more that you do this, you create this concept of bringing your strengths and really relying on them. Your self-esteem and your self-efficacy and your self-confidence goes higher. So these are the numbers that and studies that we've actually done. We've done it in clinical settings. We've done it in workshops, like 6-hour workshops with people who were separated or divorced. And we still got high levels of minimizing depression and anxiety. And after about a month where we did exactly the same test with the people in the workshop, it had lasted. So it wasn't just, they had a good time for 6 hours and then they got these results and then it moved away. It was long lasting. And then I teach it in Cal State Long Beach, and every term where I work with client with students, and that I just give them the assignment, they do the journaling and come back. And it's amazing, but many of the students are saying, well, I was using marijuana every day and now I've cut down on the marijuana. Or a couple of them have said, I've just stopped cold turkey. Or some of them say, I've stopped, vaping. Another one today actually was presenting and says, every time I went to college parties, I was drinking because it was supposed to be drinking, and I was numbing my emotions. And I decided to be reflective. I'm like, no, I'm not going to drink. I don't need to do that. So you could see that in every angle, or their relationship with their parents, relationship with their mates, are all moving forward because they're doing this consciously. They're no longer reacting automatically. And this is what the tool is giving them.
Incredible. All right. For those, I have it on TikTok on my phone as well. For those that are joining, we're talking about the Foojan app. If you could please run to your app store and download it. But other than downloading the Foojan, am I saying it correctly? What are some techniques that our audience can implement immediately? Like, what's one simple exercise? You mentioned journaling. Like, what are the prompts if they want to cultivate greater self-awareness and begin to manage their difficult emotions immediately?
Well, I think there's a couple of rituals are very important. Obviously, guided meditation. Some people can just sit there and be quiet and reflect. Some people, it's very hard for them. For me, I can't just sit there. I got to be guided. So guided meditations usually support them a lot, whether they use it in Foojan App or just go to YouTube anywhere and get guided meditation. Trying to get meditations that are more reflective to you so that you can answer those questions about, what am I thinking about these things? How am I feeling? What am I, observing what kind of behaviors you do? Like you put 2 cameras, one camera inside where you check your thoughts, emotion, and body sensations, and then another one outside about your behavior and kind of results that you're creating in each relationship. So first is that awareness concept that you could do as a practice every morning and every night. The other part is, who do I intend to be? If in the morning, I can say, this is who I intend to be. These are the commitments that I have. I commit to be very loving. I commit to be, understanding. I commit to be patient with everybody or accepting of what's coming up. So you can intend and create that intention for yourself. And then in the afternoon and night before you sleep, you can also do some of that journaling just to see how you did. The other part is that when you have an emotion in your body, close your eyes, go into that part of you and ask, what's going on? Tell me, I'm listening. We all want to be heard. So you could tell yourself, I'm listening, what's going on, and allow that emotion to be shared. And then, find out what thoughts are behind it. And then, you could kind of like open the thoughts and see what's real, what's not. A lot of times we're just based on our own delusions or assumptions. We rattle ourselves. So that's the simplest way that I can share with your audience in how to start being reflective. Then, like you said yourself, Naomi, at one point is, okay, I got it. Now I don't know how. And then you go and look at what skills it's missing. And there's so many podcasts, there's so many books, there's so many ways of going and searching to find the skills that you need for that area of your life to move forward. I think my message is, if you don't have the skills, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means you don't have the skills. So don't make it personal.
Absolutely. You don't know what you don't know. That's one of my things that I say often, because there's so much information, there's so much help out there, but you don't know until you come in contact with it. I do want to revisit the passion behind the work that you do. And I also want to talk about your podcast, The Inner Voice. So tell me about the primary message that you want to resonate, your listeners, for The Inner Voice, and then the initial passion that led to you committing to this work. Like, what personal experience do you have with it?
I've had a lot of trauma growing up. I'm an immigrant, so I came to the United States at age 12 alone, as a person who was kind of part of a divorced parents, and a lot of abuse as a child. And then when I came, I kind of raised myself, and it was more like a survival game that I was having. And it was more about, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm achieving everything that the society told me. I'm not happy. I'm just not happy. I'm miserable. I'm very depressed. So I started going to coaching seminars, and then self-development seminars, and then, to therapists. And I started learning about myself and how those traumas had changed my life and my view and how I could be fulfilled. So based on that experience was, everyone we must be responsible for making ourselves happy. And only if you have the skills, you have the ability, regardless of what happens, to be able to do that. So that's what it was behind creating, the awareness integration. I went and learned every theory that was there. I went to therapists who did all of those theories, and I worked it on myself, and all of them that worked, I took the best of what it was and brought them together and created like an efficient way to do that. And I know your passion with technology has really led to taking this to the next level.
Yeah, I think we had this discussion for almost a couple of years, and to me, it wasn't really just creating an app. At least for being a science-based mentality, I wanted to see numbers. I wanted to see what is it this theory can do to help, and then how can I really paint a positive presentation of a model? Because creating an app, you can create all kind of app, but if the app is not really authentic to that concept, to that really message and mission, then it's missing the purpose. And it took us a while to really, because there was nothing like it in the market.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, how you felt navigating the technology to ensure that it effectively represented the desire that you all had, but also could drive people's behavior to actually participate in it.
Yeah, so that was a challenge because when Uber started, then you had other tech companies. They just copied Uber and create another app just like that, but they call it something different. So, but for us, there was nothing like it. So it just went through trial and error. Let's try this thing. Show it to a focus group. What do you think? Get the feedback, and then gradually making these changes based on the feedback we were getting, and then came to the point that we saw that now we see the numbers, we see the improvement, and creating a user interface that it's not dry, but it's also clearly connecting to the model itself. So we're not creating something that has nothing to do with the model. I think when she wanted to have that the AI portion of it, because that was what was missing within the app. Because you go through that, but you have a question.
Absolutely.
How do you get that answer? Like, hey, I just had a fight with my partner last night.
Yeah.
And you ask that from your therapist, but there's no app. You can go and ask ChatGPT, for example, but ChatGPT is not designed for that purpose. It's a very general AI that gives you whatever hits on internet, and there's no fact check to see if this is the right methodology or anything like that. So, and then creating that AI, Mira, using the AIT. And the other thing that we did with Mira was Dr. Foojan, as you said, has a lot of content in social media. all these video, the inner voice, Ask Dr. Foojan on YouTube. So Mira learned all of those. So when you ask Mira, it gives you exactly close to what Dr. Foojan will tell you if you ask her directly that question. And I'd give you really something that I always share with other people. A guy that I go for my haircut. So one time he said, I'm a divorcee and I have a very difficult time to get along with my ex-wife, and that has impacted my relationship with my teenage son. And I feel that we're not connected, and I'm losing that, and I don't want to do that. And I said, well, let's do this. Why don't we ask Mira that question and see what Mira tells us? I gave him my phone, and he asked Mira same question. Hey, I'm a divorcee and this and that, and I can't stand my wife, my ex-wife, because she really makes me upset every time I see her, because she always nagging and all of that, and that has impact. And then Mira gave him 10 steps of what you need to do, how you need to accept your wife. And these are ask yourself, is this something that you do that always gets her emotionally charged when she sees? And then it's wow, I've been seeing therapists and nobody told me this. So well, try that. And then the next one, when I went and saw him for my haircut, he said, well, Mira saved my relationship with my ex-wife and also with my son. Now we can get along. We don't get into fight when we see each other. So, and that's really something that tells at least me that we are really complementing what Dr. Foojan has started as her mission in life and what she has done all these years with her patients, with her all these people that she's impacting.
Frustrated. And hey, guys, Sam.
No, I'm not. I used to be her patient.
Oh, wow. No way.
No, it's just
okay.
No. He is his field is actually technology.
Yeah, I'm a trained technologist since day one.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see like what the numbers are. I know some therapists might feel slighted by this comment I'm about to make, but I feel like sometimes an effective AI therapist might be more of a safe space, because with human beings, no matter how comfortable you are with your AI, there's a level of putting on, whereas when you're in a safe space with an AI that is not judging you, how much more honest are people? What's your opinion on that, if you have any?
You're so right, Naomi. I remember we did almost 2005. I wrote the book Online Therapy. And at that time, we didn't even have video. So we only had chat across the globe. And we thought, you're not going to be able to see their face. You're not going to be able to, hear their tone. And we might not be as effective. And exactly what you said. Sometimes in therapy, it would take 3, 4, 5 sessions before somebody felt comfortable to look in your eyes and say something about them, their shadow side, they didn't like about themselves, their traumas. And yet, from the first email, they would start telling you everything because it was anonymous. They didn't look at you in the face. All of the, fluff at the beginning was gone, and they would just tell you everything really quick. So I do agree with you that there is a, advantage to that. So far, when we've done kind of 5 or 6 questions before and after of every area, and in the Foojan App, you've got 31 areas of life, like your relationship with finances, work, intimate relationships, sexuality, mother, father, siblings. So you've got 31 areas. And so they do a couple of questions before and after. So far, we've found somewhere between 65 to 72% improvement in that life area and skills when they've shared. And so we've had that for almost a year and a half. And then Mira, we're checking to see how the effectiveness is. We don't have specific numbers on addition of separating with the journaling and the guided concepts versus Mira yet. We're putting those keys so we can see what the difference is. But together, definitely, they've brought up to 72% of improvement in all of these different areas. Another thing I just want to make sure that your audience gets is we've really tried to safe proof Mira. We train her consistently, ask the weird questions to make sure where does she go, and keep training her, because we heard with Gemini and ChatGPT and some of them is that they, it became very dangerous. They were, they were answering questions, they were hallucinating, the ChatGPT was not answering right, or somebody was kept telling him I want to kill myself, and I was convincing ChatGPT, and at one point it's like, oh yeah, go ahead. So this is our dangerous ways because the human being is not there. We really are trying to safe proof Mira to be able to support and help and be safe. And if there's an area that is not a specialty, then Mira will just say, I'm sorry, this is not my specialty. So we really want to be, for this to be the benefit of users, to move them along and forward.
Absolutely. I'm excited to use it for myself and to be a disciple for this. I'm so grateful that you all committed yourself to bringing this work to life. Um, what's the best ways for users to connect with you guys? Let's start there.
Sure, the App Store or Google Play, if they want to download it. Obviously, there's 3 days free that they can go in and check it out and to see. If they want to know more about the technology, they can go to Foojan App, Foojan.com, which is the actual website of the app. They can also, if they wanted to know about awareness integration theory, awarenessintegration.com. Again, it's, it says all the store. The books are there, all the research is there, all of them are there. So they can check both of them if they like, and to get more information about all of it. You asked about the podcast Inner Voice. Inner Voice, I think we're on to 398 episode. It's me talking about, all that I've ever known for 30 some years, with guests that are also either therapists, sociologists, authors, people who work in business, people, because, by the way, we're also, my next book is coming out May 13th, and it's bringing awareness integration and bringing it into companies and corporations. So we're bringing organization development and AIT together, because obviously we're all human beings and we relate in any company, right? Absolutely. So it's bringing something so you would create a better collaborative friendships and relationships and co-work relationships within the company. So business people are there, professors are there, and we talk about human conditions, whatever is showing up. We give skills on the podcast, and then you can find podcasts anywhere of your podcasts that you find them.
Okay, awesome. And then for the Foojan app, from a business perspective, you guys are not in beta, you just fully available for.
It's already released. It's a combination of the app itself with Mira. Mira is part of the app now.
Okay, awesome. And then if you
Mira can be adapted to other concepts, right? So Mira can be separated from the Foojan app and actually be adapted. Like, we have companies who come and tell us, we want you to create this kind of like a hybrid AI for the culture of our company. So we bring the AIT into it, but with the culture of that company. Yeah. And we bring it together and create their own, app and AI, which is only for, this company who has 500,000, for example, employees.
Yeah, I love that you have that too, because the workplace is such a huge aspect that determines the quality of your mental health. There's family, there's a foundational upbringing, but definitely the workplace, I would say, is a huge percentage of that. If you each can go, Mr. Sam, if you can go, and then Dr. Foojan, if you can go, with just your lasting thoughts that you want to leave our audience with, and any further call to action.
My only message is give it a shot, try it, because you will see something totally different. What I've seen is the majority of people currently are using TikTok or social media for their mental health. And to be honest, almost the research that I saw, 84% of those suggestions are not scientific based. It's somebody's experience, which is fine, but our app and Mira is trained on a very, very science evidence-based technology. And so give it a shot and you will see the difference. And Mira, with the combination of the app, is the only thing that is available that helps you go through the past, set the stage for future, and gives you skill sets. This is something that's missing in almost every coaching or psychological app that is outside.
And I just want to say you deserve to be happy. Every single human being deserves to be happy, and we are responsible for creating that for ourselves. And when we have the skills of how to do it, it's absolutely possible to be joyous every day. And I hope that we brought some tools for you to be able to do that.
You did, absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.